Rajat Sethi, respond to what you've just heard. It seems at the moment, as I said, the trust deficit factor. A lot of this is about trust. The Election Commission was an extremely trusted body. Now it's caught up in a political tug of war, and its trust, in a sense, is where the question mark lies. You mentioned Rahul Gandhi, how he hasn't gone to Bihar. He hasn't found out how many names are actually deleted subsequently. Do you, though, concede there is a trust deficit or not? Or even is that also being manufactured, you believe?
Of course, if you look at the causal chain between this trust deficit, which has apparently gone down, isn't media and isn't the entire SIR the way it was presented before the public is bound to create such kind of a impact on the voters' mind? Where is it that in isolation that this thing is coming from the public? If there were so many deletions, why were people not on the ground? 60-70 lakh is not a small number that you can ignore as a rounding off error. Why were the so-called quote-unquote disenfranchised people not hitting the streets and Congress or any other opposition party trying to champion their cause? It would have been a perfect sort of an election issue, which they could have gone to the town making this as a central Bihar issue. But where is that issue for the past 15, 20, 50 days, actually? Not a single whisper of this issue on the ground, because this is a non-issue. The problem is that if you want to take an ideological position and then try to look for any kind of a, relevant, irrelevant evidences to conflate that position, that does not lead to a coherent argument. My simple problem is today, India is facing a problem where it desperately needs a register of citizens, which in isolation can become, can extend to voting rights to those citizens. Currently, we don't have. People sitting there on the other side of the aisle typically raise so many objections around this NRC exercise also. Where do you want to stop? You tell me that. You don't want NRC, then you want to suddenly jump and say that the voter ID card should necessarily piggyback on Aadhaar. How is that reasonable? I have served in the border states. I can tell you Aadhaars are distributed as if it's nobody's business. People have like Pan Gumti shops they've opened up, issuing Aadhaar cards and making people indirectly bona fide citizens of this country. And then taking up the advantages of various government schemes, and taking advantages of reservations and taking away the rightful reservation benefits from people who deserve it.
But Rajat,
allow me to finish.
Bihar also shares a border. But Rajat, Bihar also shares a border with countries like Nepal. And if I look at the list, as per the Election Commission, there is still no suggestion that large-scale Ghuspetiyas or infiltrators from other states have come in and got illegal citizenship. I'm just referring to Bihar at the moment. The truth of the matter is, this is also propaganda, that there is large-scale infiltration taking place.
See, Rajdeep, large-scale, small-scale, or even a single person crossing the border and illegally taking Aadhaar and then illegally becoming a voter of this country is problematic to me. And I don't think Election Commission has the responsibility or has come out and said that, mass illegal migration is not happening at scale. Did any government body make that assertion or otherwise? The answer is no. We are, as interpreter, trying to interpret what all is there. That need not be official position. This is why you require National Register of Citizens to establish exactly this, whether this quantum of illegal migrants in this country is very big or very small or negligible. That needs to be established. How else do you do this exercise?
Sure, but the NRC exercise is not the job, presumably, of the Election Commission, certainly.
But that's what I exactly said. So you cannot expect
taken an ideological position.
No, my point is you cannot expect Election Commission to come out and say that, illegal migrants weren't there in the list, we couldn't identify. You're answering the wrong, you're asking the wrong question from the Election Commission and reaching to a conclusion nevertheless.
Okay.
Rajdeep, this one thing must be put on record.
Yogendra Yadav, the charge is that you're taking... Yogendra Yadav, the charge is that you're taking an ideological position and then trying to get the facts to fit in that ideological position. According to Rajat Sethi, there is a genuine problem in the border areas of people who may have got Aadhaar and may not necessarily be citizens of the country and therefore cannot get voting rights. Your quick final response to that.
Rajdeep, of course, there is a genuine problem. And last I heard, the Aadhaar authority was not working under the government of Pakistan or Bangladesh. I thought the Home Ministry of the country had something to do with it. And if for the last 11 years you are ruling this country and you cannot get your core card correct, and you complain that, oh my God, this is,
Aadhaar
this
can
is
be
weird.
given to
But
foreigners also. Aadhaar, sir, can be
Rajat,
given
please
to
stop
foreigners
spreading.
also.
Rajat, please stop spreading misleading information. There are two different kinds of Aadhaar cards. An Aadhaar card, which is given to foreigner, has an expiry date written into it. So please don't spread misinformation. These are two very different things. But allow me to say just one thing. Election Commission. He says, why are we asking Election Commission? Sir, I'm asking Election Commission because at the beginning of SIR, Election Commission tells me there are four major objectives, one of which is detection and deletion of illegal foreigners. So at the end of that exercise, am I not entitled to asking them, sir, how many foreigners have you detected and deleted? In the SIR orders, point 5b, para 5b, there is a requirement that any foreigner who is deleted has to be reported to the foreigners authority. So am I not entitled to asking the Bihar government and India government, how many such reports have they received? And why is it that Chief Election Commission in the nationally televised debate today pointedly refused to answer this question when it was asked to him twice? Sir, how many foreigners have you deleted? And this is not a vague category. Not an Indian citizen is an official category for objection, an official category for deletion. So Election Commission has the data. Why is it that you don't share it with the country? What is it that you want to hide? Is it that you didn't find any and you're too embarrassed to report it?
You know, that's an interesting. Yes, Mr. Gopal Sami, you've raised your finger. Go ahead and conclude the debate.
Yeah, quickly 2 points. One, I agree that if you keep on repeating a lie, it becomes, people start thinking it is true. So the entire campaign against Election Commission losing credibility or something of that kind. That is one. Leave aside that. Let's talk about the appeals not being made. You had 1.6 lakh BLAs, apart from about a lakh BLOs. BLOs are under the government or the government servants, while BLAs are of the political party, 1,60,000. And then this 1,60,000, if they had found that wrongly some names have been deleted, they would have certainly applied. After all, every political party has an interest in ensuring that the persons who are very much available for voting and they have been wrongly removed has to be projected and brought to the notice of Election Commission. Nobody did that.
Lakhs of things were filed.
You make a fair point there. I also want to get you, Doctor. You make a fair point there. Why? No, 1 minute. No. I think it's fair to ask why have booth level agents not made more objections is one of the points which is made by those who believe that the SIR exercise is not as flawed as critics believe. But Dr. Qureshi, do you agree with Yogendra Yadav that at least the names of the so-called foreigners who have been detected the number of them should be made public, names and numbers? At least the number we don't still know in Bihar. If this exercise was designed to remove the so-called Ghuspetiyas, as the government of India claims, how many Ghuspetiyas actually were found in the end? Should the Election Commission not tell us? Or it's not their job?
Yes, I agree with Yogendra ji there that the whole exercise started in the name of foreigners. And we must know, I'm curious to know how many foreigners were found. Why is the Election Commission not coming out very clearly about that? And I saw the press conference entirely, and he is right that twice the question was raised, and we didn't get the answer. So even now, through your program, we would like to know how many foreigners have we found. We are very worried about the foreigners being on the roll. They must be thrown out. But what is their number? How many were found?
Okay, so you're very clear on that. Yogendra, the final word. And this point was made by Rajat also, if there was so much of, if it was such a deeply flawed exercise, would people not protest in larger numbers, including the booth level agents of the, and the block level agents of the different parties?
Rajdeep, my friend Rajat forgets that there was something called Voter Adhikar Yatra in Bihar, which went for 10 days, in which thousands, if not millions, participated. And the entire yatra was about this. Millions of people were on the street, but forget it. Get a Congress or RJD spokesperson next time. They'll probably argue that case out. And in this discussion...
but that's different to protest. No, Yogendra Yadav, why haven't booth level agents protested or political parties? We saw that that's an argument even in Maharashtra, which I keep hearing. Why, if there was so many mass deletions unfairly done, should the local level, booth level agents not have noticed it and protested?
No, it is not their job to protest. It is their job to file objections. It is their job to file and allow people to get in. And in this, there is a serious conflation in this particular discussion. I think we are just of the 65 lakh names that were deleted. Please remember, about 4 lakh objections were received and 21 lakh new names have been added. And I am saying with all seriousness that out of these 21 lakh names, at least 3 to 4 lakh names were of those who were unduly excluded in the 65 lakh list. Unfortunately, the Election Commission, in a completely illegal manner, forced these people whose names had been excluded, forced them to fill Form 6 and come as a new voter. And I have demonstrated, Rajdeep, to the Supreme Court that people who are 100-year-old have applied in Bihar, reapplied in Bihar to become new voters. Clearly, these were the excluded voters. So to say that not one thing has happened is a complete lie. Lakhs of names have been added, lakhs of objections have been made. The point the Election Commission today was making was only about the 3.66 lakh final stage deletions that took place after the draft electoral rolls. And I repeat, no one can appeal against an order which they have not received. In that final stage, Election Commission did not actually give orders.
Okay. I think what is very clear is also the lack of transparency. I think one of the problems with this entire exercise has been the complete lack of transparency at different levels and the inability to take the stakeholders on board. Who are the main stakeholders? Not just we, the citizens, but the political parties who actually have the maximum at stake in some way, along with us voters during elections. So if the Election Commission was more transparent, engaged possibly with political parties rather than dictating to them, maybe the SIR exercise would have involved more trust. The fact, though, is we do need purification of the rolls. The question is, how do you purify the rolls? Purely by exclusion or ensuring a rigorous, transparent exercise?